Welcome back into the Villanova Basketball Report. Bob Long here, Kevin Long, and now we bring you to the whiteboard where we take you through one aspect of Villanova basketball, and we call it V's and O's. Today, it's all about Cole Swider, and we're trying to figure out what exactly is going on with him defensively. He's been a total liability defensively. The question is why? Well, it's really a couple of things. The first is a general toughness. The second is anticipation. And the third is timing. And honestly, all of those things are really interrelated. So let's take a look at Cole Swider on the inside portion of the floor. So he's going to play defense here. And let's put Caleb Wesson, big man, Ohio State, back to the basket, strong, powerful guy. Well, if Cole Swider is here playing just with his back to, with his body to the defender, his back to the basket. Well, Caleb Wesson just bigger, tougher, and he's able just with power dribbles to create space to push Cole Swider back. And this is about as simple an explanation as we can get, but able to just push him inside and finish. Well, okay. How do you defend against something like that? Well, you don't let him catch the ball here. Right? You try to push him out and have him catch the ball out here, create help, etc. Well, Cole Swider, this gets to the anticipation side of things. Swider, let's just say he shoots, and let's say he hits a three on this side of the floor, and now he's coming back down the floor. Well, if a big man like Caleb Wesson is cycling down here and beats Cole Swider down the floor, all of a sudden he can set up position ahead of time, and Cole Swider is now essentially left out to dry. And if he catches the ball, Wesson or any other big that's tougher, bigger than Swider in this area, then all of a sudden he's in trouble. He's not going to be able to defend, and it's an easy bucket. And we talk about this all the time across basketball circles with big men in general, doing the work ahead of time. And most of the time, that's talking about the offensive player, right? Doing the work when the ball is not in your hands to create a seal. Let's say it's Swider now face guarding here. Well, Caleb Wesson can create the seal here, force the ball in over the top, and Cole Swider now has no chance, or any other defender. We talk about offensive big men doing the work without the ball to create position, and by the time you receive it, it's too late for the defender to do anything. So those are some of the things that Cole Swider needs to now work hard on the defensive side to prevent from happening. And I haven't seen enough of that. So that's the timing side. We talk about toughness. We talk about anticipation. Well, now let's talk about timing here. So we're going to now take a Cole Swider guarding, say, a stretch four. Here, Swider here. What we've seen is that Swider doesn't have the footwork or the quickness to stay with an opposing offensive player laterally. So let's take a look at the Creighton game. Guys were able to blow by Cole Swider. I think about a specific example late in the game. The other opposition was going from left to right as you see it on your television. And Swider was just a half step late. Wasn't quick, wasn't anticipating, didn't have the defensive timing to be able to stay with this player. So Swider, to his credit, did everything he could to get back into this play. He's essentially a half step behind and is sprinting to get right here to prevent a dunk. So what does this offensive player do? Head fake right there. Cole Swider was so far off balance and so far out of the play, he jumped in the air, flew by, and then just a pivot step and a lay-in at that point from Creighton. And this is really applicable for any type of wing player that Cole Swider has to guard. He needs to be in a defensive position and needs to get better footwork to be able to stay with somebody either off the dribble or on a step back. So again, toughness, anticipation, and timing. Cole Swider has struggled with all three things defensively. He's been a complete liability, and we mentioned this in the first part of the show. It's about film study. We asked the question, did he just regress defensively? No, he's the same defender. But when a team pulls up Ohio State film and Caleb Wesson is here setting up position and just bullying Cole Swider into the basket, spacing the floor and letting him go to work. When they pull up film against Creighton and Cole Swider is getting beaten here from the outside, and excuse me as I lost my pen, that wasn't good anticipation, was it? And then he's getting to the basket here and Swider's a step late. Well, okay, they're reading that film. And when they're understanding that Cole Swider isn't doing the work ahead of time to shove his player out here, and before they ever come down the floor to meet them here and not let them get to this area. Well, when teams see that, they're going to take advantage of it. And Swider has been a defensive liability. Only time will tell whether he actually can spend time on the floor for his offensive prowess or if the defensive liability is too much of a deterrent to actually take his value away on the floor. So when you're watching Cole Swider on the floor, if we get enough time to see him, he needs more toughness. That's really difficult. That's going to take another offseason at least. Anticipation, something that you can work on, but again, it's very difficult. And then timing, well, he just needs to be a little bit bouncier, a little bit quicker. All those things are going to be very difficult to fix. So I'm not necessarily putting solutions here on the board, but this is the problem from a Cole Swider perspective and a reason why he's been a liability on the floor defensively. And that's our V's and O's segment here on the Villanova Basketball Report. We'll come back on the other side. Bob Long, Kevin Long here from Bluebell. Stay with us.